On May 3, 2026, over 2.27 crore students across India sat down for one exam. There is no alternative route, no second door. If a young person in this country wants to become a doctor, they must clear this specific test. For most in those rooms, getting to that desk took years. Families liquidate their life savings, take on heavy loans, and relocate to distant cities to study through the summers. When the invigilators finally collected the papers and the halls fell quiet, the students felt something rare: hope. That relief relies entirely on an agreement. If you sacrifice your youth and put in the work, the system will measure your effort fairly. 9 days later, the National Testing Agency voided the results for all 2.27 crore students. The official announcement confirmed the paper had been deliberately leaked before the exam date. Students immediately took to the streets, demanding answers, holding up signs calling for a re-examination. India's education minister stood before the public and described the leak as a breach in the command chain. To the students, a minor leak in a pipe did not capture the severity of the collapse. The foundational promise keeping millions of young people studying in small, hot rooms had been broken. When the Central Bureau of Investigation took over, they found the leak originated from the inside. The NTA's own appointed subject experts and professors had compromised the exam. This diagram outlines how the network operated. It begins here with the NTA insiders, who shared the confidential questions with a select group of students during private sessions weeks in advance. To hide the stolen material, perpetrators embedded the data inside massive digital files, mixing real test items with hundreds of fake practice questions. The camouflaged files were distributed through WhatsApp and Telegram, pushing the material across at least 5 states. When the authorities began closing in, the network scrambled. They burned handwritten notes and deleted message histories to erase their tracks. The people given ultimate authority to protect the most confidential document in Indian education operated a synchronized criminal syndicate against the applicants. This exact scenario played out 2 years earlier. In 2024, a nearly identical paper leak compromised the exam. That previous leak generated similar outrage, followed by government committees and Supreme Court petitions. None of it prevented the 2026 collapse. The Education Ministry plans to move the exam to a computer-based format in 2027. A digital test changes the delivery method, but it leaves open the question of how to secure the people who write the questions. The institution has repeatedly failed to secure its own materials. The current oversight model cannot guarantee a fair test. The 37 days between the cancellation and the rescheduled exam on June 21st became an agonizing waiting period. The uncertainty triggered widespread psychological distress across the student body. To understand the weight of that delay, look at this visualization of the applicant pool. You have 2.27 crore students trying to squeeze through a door that opens for fewer than 1.3 lakh available medical seats. That mathematical bottleneck created a massive commercial ecosystem. Entire cities are built around coaching centers that tie a teenager's value to their rank. Counselors working through the 37-day delay reported a surge in crisis calls. Students lost the ability to sleep, stopped eating, and experienced a total collapse of motivation to study. When an examination system requires an impossible level of pressure to begin with, pulling the ground out from under the applicants turns an administrative delay into a threat to their survival. The state forced the re-examination through on June 21st. Tightening security with strict biometric checks and police officers waving metal detectors over the applicants. Over 2 million students returned to take the test, but 13 registered students did not show up, having ended their own lives during the 37 days in between. In many of these cases, the families found no notes. They were left with absolute silence, trying to find an explanation in the last ordinary conversations they shared. If you are watching this and you are in the middle of preparing, or if you recently faced a setback, your value as a human being is entirely detached from a 3-digit score. The students lost in those 37 days did everything correctly. They worked hard, they made the sacrifices, and they were failed by the adults trusted to protect them. Until the government addresses the corruption at the top and the crushing pressure at the bottom, NEET operates as a continuing national crisis.